Beautiful Adventure Destinations premieres its new time travel package, Journey to 3978, where you'll get plenty of cardio as you escape the hunt of the ruling simians. Enjoy the desert landscape and enchanting beaches of the Forbidden Zone, or the nightlife of New York City. Whether you visit the Research Zoo or the museums of Ape City, be sure and tell them Bad Travel sent you. Who knows? Maybe even romance awaits. Coming soon, our alternate timeline package. Remember, we're not good, we're bad.
You maniac! God damn you all to hell!
Reversing time dilation is currently not possible. Bad travel not responsible for return to your own time. If caught by the gorillas, do not speak. No refunds, no exceptions.
What's happening, you little pop culture baddies? Welcome to Friday. Of course, you understand that means that this is probably the sexiest podcast you have seen all week, minus what happened on Wednesday, but that also comes into today. We have a good show for you today. We're calling this show Controversy because we're going to be talking about Captain America 4. We're going to go over the Max Spider-Man and why it could potentially be the best thing to happen to action figures while everyone else says that it's not. We're also going to get into SKN news, and then we're going to do some Disney, and then we're going to get into even more things. We're really excited about it. So stay tuned, sit back, relax, and welcome to Pixels Plastic Inc. Well. How are you all doing tonight, Mr. Alexander Storm? How are you doing?
Doing great. And I just like to thank our production department that did that great job on the brand new intro for, if people don't understand, season number dos, season number two.
Number dos. And Mr. Brentley, how are you doing today?
Very good. And by the way, I'm a doctor. I didn't go to fake school to not be called a doctor. Okay.
Okay. Well, that's you sound like one now.
Thank you.
Sure. And as always, the hidden gem, the sexiest man alive. When I die, Mr. Richard from KS Collectibles. How are you doing, sir?
Doing amazing, man.
You partying it up in there? What you got behind you right now? What's going on back there?
Toys.
Oh,
Toys.
there's all kinds of goodies. I mean,
Oh, that's
we got some Batman, we got some Star Wars.
mm.
You know, we got some She-Ra, a little bit of everything. Little
All
little,
right, all right, all right.
little vintage for you guys out there.
Look at that.
Oh, nice.
Spaceman's vet.
There it is. There it is. There it is. Hey, well, look, this show is going to be fantastic. We have a lot we need to get into. Rad is actually gone. He actually had a yacht he had to go take in to get an oil change, and those usually take about 10 to 12 hours. So, he's out, but he's here in spirit. May pop in, may not pop in. We want to thank everybody for stopping by. If you haven't yet, you need to subscribe. There's 13,000 of you that watch our stuff, and you guys don't subscribe, and that's fine. You don't have to, but you should, because it's free. And for the 700,000 people watching right now, we thank you for giving us your time, because time is precious.
Yeah, well,
and because of that, we want to address some of the famous people in our chat. So, Mr. Alexander Storm,
yes, sir.
Light it up, baby.
We will hit it up, Mr. Scott Simpson.
Scott
Sup,
Simpson,
gentlemen, you know it. Welcome in.
There he is.
To Darth Moocher,
Mooch.
I will say this: the best damn Star Wars podcast on YouTube. Yes, you can fight me for that. The gentleman over the Sorlac Digest podcast. Darth Moocher, good evening to you, sir.
Look at that guy.
From the Skeleton Tomb, which is one of our. We got something on May 5th that's happening. But the other half, Scully, Dead Man One's his better half, actually, we'll say.
I do want to point out that March 5th,
his better half.
March 5th, not May 5th.
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry, March 5th. Yeah, sorry.
Okay. You're excited.
Why do you keep thinking of, I guess, already going for the May the 4th and May the 5th already?
Yeah.
You know?
You're thinking about tequila. That's what it is.
That's what it is. That's what it is. Scully's going to chime in and says that the Captain America movie was great. All right, well, that's good. We got some debate going on right here. And just wanted to get that out of the way. You did, sir. And Scott Simpson points out, where's Commander Blythe? Well, Commander Blythe is probably on the East Coast, Scott.
Yeah. And I think that's an important question.
Yeah, it is. But I'm sure, like I said, because there's must have worked the late night shift or something. But I know we're killing him at these hours. But I'm sure.
Well, it is Valentine's Day, but I'm sure he's first in our hearts.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And last in our farts.
You know how I know it's Valentine's Day? I got a heart-shaped pizza today.
Oh, geez.
Wait, did you really?
I really did. From my ex-girlfriend, yes.
Wow.
I really did.
That says a lot. They're spending money and sending it to you.
That's kind of rad. Hey, so we want to point out real quick, we appreciate you all being here. We want to information overload you at the front so you can zombie out and do whatever you need to do during the rest of the cast. It's going to be fun. But March 5th, like my friend Alexander Storm said, we will have the double cast. We'll get into that a little bit later on in the evening, plus some updates on Bandito Radio and things like that. But fellas, let's get into some controversy, and let's go over whether or not Captain America 4, which I don't think it should be, I think it should just be its own thing, was good or not.
Well,
it was.
There's only one.
I don't know. I don't know if any of you guys saw it. I literally just saw it about an hour and a half ago. Yeah. I won't say it was great. You know, first, anybody that's seen me on this cast know I am notoriously a huge fan of bad cinema. So we'll get that out of the way first.
We're aware of that based on which movies.
However, this movie I had very low expectations for. Mm-hmm. So it didn't disappoint me in the way that I wasn't just completely hating the movie. They did the best way I can say it without throwing a lot of spoilers in is it's Marvel's turn or Marvel's try at the Manchurian Candidate. So you kind of get this espionage movie to it, which is what I was hoping for when I saw the last trailer.
Yeah.
It's a fun movie. Is it a great movie? No. Is it a decent movie? Is it worth the watch? I enjoyed it. I really like what they did. I really love the way the Red Hulk looks. There's some interesting twists in the movie. It's entertaining. My only problem with the movie is it feels kind of small. It feels like almost like a TV movie. but it could be, the multiple shoots and stuff like that they've had to cram into it. But, I've heard so many negative reviews where they said that the characters didn't have any direction. To me, it felt like it's just a nice opening for the future of, or the next phase of the Marvel Universe. I actually enjoyed the movie, and I was actually kind of pleasantly surprised by it. I think it's fun.
I did. Does it? Okay, I'm curious for this. Does it align with the stuff that is showing up as far as like reviews go online, specifically Rotten Tomatoes?
I don't think so. You could be, because the few that I've read, I try not to read a lot of reviews before I go in to see a movie because I don't want to have my opinion skewed.
Yeah.
But a lot of what I hear is there's no direction in the movie, and it just seems like it doesn't have a storyline, like a base storyline, and that couldn't be farther from the truth. There is actually a plot to it. It doesn't deviate from the plot. There are a lot of cuts and stuff like that. It kind of jumps around here and there. But I mean, with any espionage type of movie, you're going to get that because you want to see it from multiple points of view. So it just, like I said, my only problem is it feels a little small. It feels like it would have been a TV movie also, but I enjoyed it. Like, it's something I would gladly watch again. Is it great cinema? No, but I mean, what Marvel movie is great cinema?
Winter Soldier.
Yeah, Winter Soldier, maybe the first Avenger movie.
I think honestly, I just think the second Captain America would classify as great cinema to me. The rest of them are, they're good movies. I wouldn't call them great cinema. Well, and this is it's an entertaining movie, which is, in a Marvel film, that's what you want. You want to be entertained. You want to get to know, and it's building. You're getting more background into the characters that are going to progress in this new Marvel universe, or the next phase of the Marvel universe.
Well, here's the thing. There's a lot of people that are complaining and everything, and then Scully says right here, it's not an Avengers type movie, just a solid on its own plus. And I think this. I think you want to get away from the comparisons of something being like, we know what we've gotten with the Chris Evans movies. So in order for you to come in and just give, Sam Wilson or Anthony Mackie per se, they need their own clean slate of stuff. You can't really kind of give them, because it's a whole different direction of the MCU. And there was also Robert Downey Jr.'s Iron Man. There was you got Samuel Jackson. There's so many other different people that he's interacting with. This one, you have the new iteration of certain MCU characters. So I think if we leave the comparisons out of it, it becomes a movie on its own, exactly like Scully was saying. I think that's how we need to start viewing these films as they come up. Now, look, we've had the Eternals, we've had Captain Marvels, we've had an Ant-Man number 3 that was all subpar. If it's better than those movies, it's worth the watch.
It's definitely better, in my opinion. It's definitely an enjoyable film, and like I said, the one thing that I really like is Anthony Mackie. Really, he, in a different way, he becomes Captain America. Like, you feel that he takes over that helm very well, but in a completely different way than Chris Evans did, because obviously no super soldier serum, but like, he owns the role, and you really start to feel him as Captain America.
Yeah, because Captain America is one of my favorite characters, so I was actually very scared about, because the Falcon and Winter Soldier TV show was okay, but it wasn't great. Like, with those characters, I think you could have done something great. And same here. It just depends on how they do it. And a Captain America movie doesn't have to be as big as the Avengers. It shouldn't be. Avengers should be on that level, and that's it. All the rest of the stuff can have smaller things. It's like a Marvel comic book. There's some issues that was just a small little story with our characters, and then sometimes there's big end of the world, ending stuff. So I'm looking forward to it because I do like Anthony Mackie, so we'll see, and Harrison Ford, obviously.
And anything that shows Isaiah Bradley love. I absolutely love.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Well, here's the thing. Like we were, and I'm not even gonna lie to you. This is gonna sound cold, but we were waiting for you to watch it before we knew to waste our money. It's like the first thing Chet and I was gonna go this afternoon and said, "Hey, man, let's go watch it." And I was like, hold on, man," because I don't want to pay full price for something unless my man's telling me, "Hey, it's good." Then we can go. So thank you, sir. Now we
Yeah,
will be going tomorrow to see it.
it's definitely enjoyable. Like, and once again, like I said, I am notoriously a fan of bad cinema. I don't think it's bad cinema. I do feel, like I said, it does have some feel at times where it feels like a TV movie. But I mean, considering what everybody thought this was going to be, I thought it was going to be just like Craven, choppy and just no plot, where the plot's going all over, and it doesn't do it. It stays on course. It stays to the plot. I mean, you get some jumps, but you're going to get that with any espionage movie.
Wow.
True.
Yeah. Once you
True.
put Craven in the sentence or something, and he said it's not a Craven, then we know it's worth watching.
I don't know. Craven was pretty good, man. It's pretty good. It's a pretty good film. It's
You
pretty
mean the
good.
comic book, right? The comic, right?
No, I mean the film. The film was so good. So good. Well, that kind of brings us to our other topic that seems to be kind of bouncing around right now, which is Marvel Legends Maximum Spider-Man. So, as avid toy collectors, let's see, I don't understand where the hate comes from, to be honest. Well, like, I think it's just built up hate simply based on the last few movies Marvel's done. It's been a lot of build up and massive amounts of letdown, and then just empty stories like Craven. Like, yeah, there's just a lot of misses, and like Black Panther 2 wasn't the best, and you have like all this, just a lot of mishappening. So anything might. So what if this would have come out before all of the negative other films came out? Like if this would have come out before like the Marvels or whatever the hell that dumb movie was called, or Eternals or anything, this probably wouldn't get as bad a rap. But the problem is that they've messed up so much that they don't have room for mistakes anymore. I don't think, because people are over being told this is going to be a good movie, and then you go watch it and you're just going in with like Disney derangement syndrome, because you know that everything they did is like has not been good, and then when it was good they ruined it. And it's like I kind of had that watching the new Spider-Man animation that hit Disney Plus, and I didn't really like it until after about the third or fourth episode. But a lot of it was just because I was like, what are they doing, right? Like what is happening here? So I think that's where a lot of the hatred or the dislike, I would say, from like the critics. And hey, look, you're gonna have like the comic book heads be the biggest critics, but they always are. Like they'll tell you some of the best movies aren't good because they don't follow the comic book, but you can't follow a comic book in a movie. I think if you did, you kind of like land on like where Watchmen was, but even that didn't follow the book the whole way. So,
I think you got a good point on that aspect, though. Is and I don't know if they did themselves any favor at the MCU by when allowing like Sony to put Marvel on everything, because like you have some people that don't understand the different studio scenarios. So when they see Marvel, they associate it with the actual Disney MCU as well, and there's been like dump after dump after dump, and then you've got 3 Marvel. So yeah, you got probably 6 bad films that have littered the wave. I guess that last one was phase 4 or something. That kind of like everybody's kind of pre-associating it, because they always say like Marvel's Craven or Marvel's, so it just sinks in the public. So I think you're right on that analogy, Chad.
And one thing, I don't think they did enough solo Cap movies. They, we only got sort of 3, and then he was in like the Avengers movies. But since you love this character, you just want him to have all these different adventures that you've seen. There's plenty of World War II stories to tell. There's plenty of other things to tell along the way. But you don't get that. And I don't think they should have aged him out at the end of Endgame. It's it was a good thing for that movie, but ultimately not great to take one of your biggest characters out, and
But
which they did to a bunch of them.
what you're stating is very true. But they did that to remember for all the Avenger movies, they only got one film. You got one Thor, one Iron Man, one. Well, I think maybe there might have been two Iron Mans if I'm
There's
not
two Iron
mistaken.
Man.
But then one Cap, and then all of a sudden you're throwing them into the Avengers, and then they had a little bit more build up for the Avengers too. But yeah, I really thought like with the like they haven't done the Disney Plus home series as well. Like the Falcon and Winter Soldier really could have dived into a little bit more of the transition
Yeah.
and would have helped, but it didn't. It kind of was like they were establishing Bucky's trauma and then Sam's trauma, but they never kind of crossed it. And then you're right, maybe they could have had Chris Evans do a, Captain American World War II version of the story. Isaiah Bradley could have had his own version. They could have done some expert. That's what they should be doing with Disney Plus, and it seems like that's not happening. So
Well, you know what's crazy about all the Disney movies leading up to the Avengers is if you really want to get down to brass tacks, that entire run is all about Black Widow. And if you go back and rewatch the movies with that in mind, you'll realize that all of those movies were to tell the Black Widow story. I know that all the other ones are like front and center, but if you think about it, she's the one that's like all the way through all the films, and they touch on her story on everything.
Well,
So-
they're all about the widows. Period. Like all the widows. And let me tell you, it's pretty predominant in this movie too.
Oh, good. Okay. All right.
They bring up the widows, and it seems like every Marvel movie, like it's progressively you hear more and more. So I don't know if they're going to get their own series or something's going to happen. They're going to make something with because they need to. But there's a widow and everything.
Yeah, it's true.
I know the Thunderbolts are coming out in a couple more like a month or two from now or
Yeah.
something.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
there could be a little bit of setup for that too, which makes sense. Again, the Marvel movie is always that end credit scene or something. Used to like one from the other to the other, and they used to do it a little bit better in continuity than they have been doing as lately. I think now they're kind of like, what's the biggest shock that we can do at the end of and don't ruin the end scene, brother, because I saw that look on your face, and I'm like, don't ruin the end scene.
It gets you thinking. That's all I'll say.
So
Or wondering. It gets you wondering.
Yeah.
So, Mr. Storm, what are your thoughts on all the rumblings about this Marvel Hasbro Marvel Legend Maximum Spider-Man?
All right. Well, we and we're avid. We don't shy away from this. We're avid. We watch other YouTube channels, and I know a lot of people say that's a big no. You're not supposed to. We do, and I don't care what anybody says. If it's entertaining, we're going to watch it. This has been a week of the one reason to make me want to turn them off. In every possible situation and everything, they have totally ruined, I think, fandom. And it's the point is like first they were speculating about price. And I remember we talked about this, about the speculation of price on Torbar's Chronicles. And when they said $49.99, we thought like maybe $60 was their high end. And when it said like, $49, $50, I'm like, okay, all right, I got it. It's supposed to compete with Mayfex. I understood it. It's not $100. And I heard people saying, oh, if it's over this, but if it's at $50, it's cool. Those same exact people that said at $50 now are absolutely bitching and devoting entire podcast hours or whatever, the hour and a half, 3 hours, whatever it's going to be.
6 hours.
Yeah, bitching about $50. $50, yes, I understand it's in the economy and everything, but tooling things also, you're not getting the same standard Marvel Legend figure. How do I know this? Because behind damn near everybody, but except for Dr. Brentley, there's Marvel Legend figures. And behind some of us, they're Toy Biz figures. So we've been collecting a long time. And the pricing is, I remember when you used to walk in, it was $14.99 for a figure, $19.99. And then people lost their mind. People lost their mind when they get to this. $50 is not a high mark, but don't, and I'll say this and I'll give the floor to the rest of everyone. I saw the most asinine statement I've ever seen. Somebody said, and it was quote, and it was on X. It was debating to somebody else. Well, maximum 50. I might as well just save a couple of bucks and buy Mayfit figures. So you're going to pay $100 for one
More.
character that's $50, but you're buying in the process. You're still buying two. It's not Hasbro. It was the most asinine thing. This
Yeah.
is the level of stupidity that I'm starting to see from fandom right now. And yes, that's right. If you want to email me, it's at the Alchemist workshop over on Instagram. DM me, get pissed all you want.
Yeah.
But it's asinine what you're saying about the pricing.
Well, I'm curious, Dr. Brentley, what are your thoughts on it? Because I know you collect, but you're very like indifferent about what you collect. So what are your thoughts?
Well, it is a cool looking figure. And first of all, just seeing the poses that it can do, just like the comic books or the animation or whatever, that's good enough. And I actually pre-ordered mine earlier this morning through Entertainment Earth, one of our little affiliates of them. But yeah, I ordered that and a couple other things, so I got free shipping. And so essentially one of those figures was free because of the shipping costs. But yeah, I'm actually looking forward to it. It looks cool.
And Richard, when from your perspective, right, like you've been in the toy industry for a long time. You're a customizer. You have a toy store. You have a toy store behind you, and you have toys ranging from like the Toy Biz era and before, and then like current. So what are your thoughts on what the potential and then what this toy is actually what they're trying to do with this toy?
Well, what I really appreciate is Hasbro's doing something that with this that no other toy company has thought of doing is because you have your lower end, you have the large 12-inch figures that go about what are they, like $10 that are specifically meant for kids. I've always said when I was selling stuff, you're not going to want to buy a $25 Marvel Legends and have your kid go play with it in the yard. So you'd buy the $10 figure. Well, what Hasbro's doing with this is they're looking into toy photography is huge. Customization is huge. People that just are really into posing figures in their displays is like it's become a hobby onto itself.
Yeah.
Of action figure posing. So what Hasbro is doing is they're hitting every level from your entry level with kids to the mid level, which there's a bulk of that mid level, and then you're hitting that higher level, but you're not dealing with something like that Mafex price. So it's at a more comfortable price where people can get comfortable with more high end figures, and it leaves it open for them to introduce more deluxe figures that will go for say $100. And it advances, like I said, it advances the hobby in customizers, toy photography, in posers. So it's bringing in whole new collectors that, like a lot of people, if you're really into the photography and stuff like that, you're kind of limited, especially when it comes to the Marvel Legends, because let's be honest, a lot of them, they're rehashing the same body with different paint apps. And when you're getting into that kind of photography, it doesn't look good. And now you're having the posability and everything. I think it's a great idea, and I think it's just the tip of the iceberg.
Scott, yeah, Maximum is the new line for Hasbro, and it's got more articulation, and it's a ton. Darth Butcher says, "I'm buying it. I think the price is fair, and I don't buy Marvel Legends." That is 1000% true, and that's because Darth Moocher is going to be buying it to analyze it. So when they come out with the Maximum series Star Wars, he knows he just needs to spend all of his money up front for that Maximum series Jabba the Hutt.
Which is kind of funny. We touched on that on the Sporlac toy chest, and that was the main point. Will they actually do a Marvel Star Wars kind of version of that, like a maximum level of that? And I think they're going to do it. I think like Richard so adamantly said, which was very eloquent, sir, very right on the money for a retailer, that there's mid levels to this, and you're right. Like the Marvel Legends, while they're really good design and working, there's limitations with it. But if you have a posable figure, one that looks a degree better, that you can actually snap under those photo lights and everything, then yeah, it makes sense. But it's not like, again, it's like, the Mafexes look great on camera. I've seen a bunch of toy photographers use it. But like, if you're a toy photographer and you're paying for like, a figure, and imagine you assembling like the X-Men team or something, like, that's a lot of money. And at $50, it's not a shake that's not a lot of money anymore either. But $50 is better than 100. And I've always known that. Look, I'm not a mathematician here, but I think 50 is better than 100.
Yeah, well, I think what I think is going to actually happen is we were talking about this off camera. Yeah, I definitely agree with you, Darth Moocher. He said that he thinks this is a test level, and if it goes good, they can roll it out to other lines. That's 1,000% correct. And here's the other point that I want to make that we were talking about off camera, and I want to bring it up is, everyone is so attached to the idea that this is a Marvel Legends, right? And then it's like, oh, what are we going to get to, like the $30 figure? Yes, you are. You're going to get to the $25.99 figure, the $26.99 figure, probably a $27.99 figure before too long. But $50 for a Spider-Man, that's maximum, that photographs the way that it does. Because one thing I love about the Marvel Legends, and you could see it from this photo, is that the Marvel Legends actually are a little bit more matte than they are shiny compared to like a Mafex or a Mezco or something like that. Outside of Hot Toys being so many like cloth goods, like it's about as realistic as you can get, right? But what I noticed by staring at it and looking at it was that the figure, it has a more matte finish to it. And here's my point. If the idea behind this is that Marvel Legends is releasing a character that has multiple hands, multiple heads, and even some like accessories, but the articulation is the same, if not better, than Mafex. What do you think that's going to do to the Mafex figures? Because if I can get a maximum pose Wolverine that poses just as well as this Spider-Man for $50, and then they come out with a Gambit, like that's gonna force Mafex to lower their price. Because I'll be honest, I really want the Mafex Gambit, but it's a stupid price to pay $270 for. That is like, okay, I'll just wait. I'm going to wait till it shows up. And I think that this is going to be something where everyone is bitching and everyone's complaining about it. Everyone's saying this is crap, this is trash. The other approach should be, this is innovative. Let's see what they do. Let's see how they do, because they did do their own form of articulation. It's not the same as what we're used to, and no one is focusing on that. And here's the thing, like Dr. Burnley said, you might think it's dumb now, but you have to buy it for me for a way higher price when you want it and you cannot get it. So I think, Richard, do you think that's because I know you have a history in like a lot of different brands and European brands and things like that as well. Do you think that that's something that has potential of happening? Do you see that at all?
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, like I said, this is the tip of the iceberg, and it's going to set off. It's going to set off, like I said, a whole new realm of collecting, and other companies are going to have to change their business model because of it. Like Mafex will have to come down. They'll either have to come down in price or offer way better, which production-wise isn't going to be worth it. It's better for them to bring price down. And then the potential that Hasbro has with this, like you guys are saying, is obviously this is going to be a test one. Can you imagine a version of this with Darth Maul?
Yeah, it's perfect.
Or there's so many. I mean, you got to think of it. Just not like there's so much potential out there, and I think it's going to wake up a lot of other companies to the fact that stagnant figures aren't what anybody wants anymore. I mean, and it's going to have to leak into other lines. I mean, when all of a sudden we're going to get like maximum posable GI Joes. We're going to start getting a whole lot better quality figures. And I mean, you have to pay for what you're getting, but I mean, I think the days of the $100 figures will I think there's going to be a middle ground, and I'm thinking Mafex may come down, and these may go up a little. We'll be somewhere around that $65 range in the end when things kind of like level out, which to me is pretty fair.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at it and you just base it on like current, right? Like, could you imagine if the Punisher that they just released was like a maximum Punisher?
Right.
You could do so much cool shit with that. And then also, if you think about it, like they're bigger figures, right? The ones that the Hulkbusters and Odins and things like that. If those also have the same articulation applied to them, you're changing the level of posability that just doesn't exist. And I know that Mafex exists, and I understand that there's other ones out there. But the point is that they also have licensing as Hasbro. They have licensing for other figures that other people don't. And so they can make things. And like, like Darth Moocher was saying, a crazy posable Darth Maul is going to be unreal, along with Darth Vader. Also, like, it's just anything in that realm, right?
Yeah.
Dr. Brinley, would you want to see a Maximum Series Indiana Jones?
Yes, I'm probably about the only person because
see
the
it.
line didn't
that would
sell.
be awesome.
Look, the line didn't sell, right? So
Well, just indie though, just indie.
Just
Stop
Indiana
it at
Jones.
once.
well, now
Just
see,
Indie-
just Indiana Jones, that would
Yeah.
make some money.
And Odd Job.
But the other thing is like, yeah, G.I. Joe, you do Snake Eyes and Storm Shadow,
Yeah.
super articulated. Those would go out of the park, right?
Well,
And-
here's the thing. When we're talking about the Mafex thing, and I think Chet and I was talking about this the other night, was look, Mafex is not coming down. In fact, Mafex is only going to cost more because now with anytime you import anything, it's going to be higher. So whatever prices you were paying for Mafex before, double, at least I'd say maybe 10%, 20%, jock that up on it. But it's going to be more. And they can't go from $100 down to like $60 because they've already preconditioned you to pay $100. Same thing with Hot Toys.
And
You're
their
not going to see a
licensing, too.
$50 Hot Toy pop up because there's like they preconditioned you to do this.
Hot Toys have gone down though.
Oh no, they have, but Hot Toys was at one point. Look, there's a reason why they give you a credit application at Hot Toys.
And that's
like,
the other thing is how will this affect Hot Toys? Because if you look
Yes.
at the limitations of 12-inch figures, the posability, the maneuverability of those figures is super limited. And that's going to definitely dig into their profits because, once again, toy photography is becoming a huge thing. And with the limited, as great as the sculpting on those figures look, which is why anybody wants to buy them, the soft goods and the great sculpting, they don't move.
Nope.
I mean, they're very, they move like a Barbie doll.
I know a guy that actually breaks his Hot Toys to pose them different.
Yeah.
Ouch.
Must be nice.
And you can tell that's a guy that's not actually worried about a $50 figure. If he's doing,
Yeah.
he's a guy that he's probably got like 10 where Maximum Spider-Man's coming to the house. But you make a very good point, Richard, and I think it's right on the money, is that there is, I think they preconditioned us to think pricing wise, and I think that at Marvel Legend, and again, Chet and I've said that it's going to be $30. I don't just mistaken this situation as just blowing smoke up your butts, because it is gonna cost $30 because people were crying when it moved to 24, and it's gonna move to that because that's a natural thing. Look, we were buying Joe's for $1.99, $1.99. And now it's like you can't find a Joe for anything under 25, 24 bucks. So it's gonna happen, but you can minimize the point by doing this one easy thing. And let me give you this one easy thing. Don't fucking buy it. Don't fucking buy it. You don't want it. Don't fucking buy it.
Yeah, but don't ruin, like you said, right? Like, don't ruin other people's like want for these. Like, it bothers me. You could say, like, if you said, like, in my opinion, or I believe, or whatever, but to make it factual when somebody could possibly be tuning into your podcast or your show for the first time because they see that you have X amount of followers, and so maybe you know what you're talking about on toys, to just be there and like bashing it, making people, it's like, I don't know, but there's a lot of talk around things getting pricey and things going up and everybody being upset about that. And so, Mr. Dr. PhD Brentley,
Thank
with
you.
all this, yes, you're welcome, sir. With all this talk about everything getting too expensive, how do you feel about Disney saying that they feel like Disneyland is too high for a middle class to go anymore?
Well, obviously they sobered up because it's been too high for about 20 years or so, probably longer, but
that's true.
Yeah. No, it's crazy. You see the prices, and I'm looking at just one single person. If I go, I'm like, oh
No,
wow, well, I'm gonna have
much.
to work on how this is. I can't pay this bill that week. Okay, but if you've got a family, if you've got kids, and so you also, not only are you going in, you got to pay for all the souvenirs, all the food, at least 2 different food stops, maybe some drinks, and who knows what else. It's way too expensive. If you want families to go and enjoy it, you got to bring everything down just a little bit, and they can afford to.
Well, let's not forget either. Also, you have to pay for parking and then walk a mile to get to the damn front gate.
Yeah.
Like, it's literally a mile from the parking structure to get to the front gates. Last time, like, it was for my 49th birthday. I hadn't been to Disneyland in over 20 years. I wanted to go. I wanted to see Galaxy Quest. So I was like, I'm going to go to Disneyland for my 49th birthday. I took 2 of my stepdaughters with me. And myself, and spent over $2,500.
Yep, that sounds about right.
That's such shit, man.
Yeah, and let me tell you, there was almost no souvenirs bought. That was parking.
Save your ticket stub, right? So here's my thing. I don't know if you guys remember, but Disney, all of us here remember, but for people watching, if you don't remember, Disneyland used to have the entrance, and we're talking specifically about Disneyland here. We can talk about Disney World if we want, because that's also become astronomical priced. But Disneyland specifically, I remember the entrance used to be off of Harbor Boulevard, and you would pull in, and then the parking lot was right there. It was like the Eeyore parking lot and everything else that everyone remembers, which was taken over by Indiana Jones. But that was Dr. Brentley's happy about that. But that was an era of Disneyland where you could go into the park, you could walk out and walk across the street to like McDonald's, or you could walk across to any one of those things they had. I think Red Robin was there, and they had a few other places like the Tony Roma's or whatever it's called. And then that was awesome. And you had to do it anytime it was big. You could walk around, you could take the tram to the hotels. They were cheap. They had like good little places to spot. Then Disney was like, you know what? Let's get rid of all of the convenience, build shit so you can't leave the park, and then also make it almost impossible to park. And then also you have to jump on another fucking tram, okay, to get to the parking lot. And it just became this like massive casualty of stupid fucking mistakes. And you can't go, you cannot go. And even this is why Disney sucks, because you can't even buy an annual pass right now if you want to, because you don't have one. And then they have a lottery for it. And if you want any annual pass, that shit is $1,500 to start.
Yeah.
You can fuck off. No one wants to buy that shit because it's too expensive, and you're ruining it for kids. Like, oh, I wonder why attendance is down. It's like, because honestly, if you're a grown ass adult going to Disneyland by yourself, you have fucking problems. You could go to Disneyland by yourself, but you don't need to go to Disneyland all the time. And if you did, you typically were like, oh, I want to bring like my niece or my nephew, or if you went as like a group, you went because they used to, I don't know if you guys remember, they used to have nights where I think it was like Friday nights, they had like swing dancing, and you would go and there was like the swing dancing.
Yeah, the nightclub.
Yeah. And then the other nights they would have I remember one time there's like mariachi going on at the rest of it, but then they just got rid of all that. So now it's like, if you want I think I looked at it. If you want the pass that gets you in with no blackout dates, and it's an annual pass where you have the right or the privilege to buy it, I'm pretty sure that shit's like $2,800.
Yeah.
And that doesn't
And
include parking.
I'll give you this is that, look, hence what everybody wants to say about, Walt Disney or whatever situation. He wanted regular people to go to his theme park.
Yep.
And, he made it where, like, again, this happiest place on earth is supposed to be happy. Now, the only time that you see children look happy in the park, but the
Not a
parents
father,
don't
not
have,
one father.
they don't have a
No.
good look. There's somebody there that, mostly the fathers have like bald spots and everything because they've been hustling to pay that. And
But they
Disney
didn't
World,
when they went there, they didn't have them. It's
yeah,
just when they were in the park they got them.
and Disney World's a complete different scenario right there.
Even worse.
And it's like you're supposed to make this, and I understand that the world's about making money, capitalism in every situation. There is a place for all this, but in the hindsight, you've got to start looking at a family of four because that's about the basic American family, a family of
Yep.
four.
It should be your base
How
for
are they going to
everything.
afford to get in there? And then there's also people on the spectrum where, like we'd like to put it like, the rich, the middle class, and the poor. Let's be quite honest with you, that's kind of changing. So now there's a lot of people that I know people that have lived in California their entire life. And we've lived in Southern California and have never been to Disneyland because they could not afford it. And there's
Yep.
certain children that, look, we grew up blessed. We went to Disneyland. We had parents that killed themselves and did what they need to do to get us in. But now it's like you're going to pay rent. Or you're gonna go to
Side note,
Disneyland.
YouTube. Just so you know, they didn't really kill themselves. We're talking about.
Oh yeah.
We're talking about working really hard, figuratively speaking.
Working
So
night,
YouTube,
day, hard,
yeah.
hard
So
point.
just FYI, YouTube.
But they used to have like the coupons at the
Yeah.
store when you checked out, like
Yeah.
little things like that to help you out. It's like, these months when the weather is iffy, guess
Yeah.
what? It's going to be a little cheaper. You can bring your family.
Yeah, but
Well,
you need
even they
gotta
used to
think about the
have
family.
discount for California residents.
I
Well, they
think
don't do that anymore.
they'll get back to that at one point. or another.
Yeah, but now it's not even really a discount anymore.
Yeah, well,
no,
it
Like
is.
you might get like half
Yeah.
off parking.
No. The $1,500 annual pass is the SoCal Disney one.
Oh,
Yeah,
really?
That's what I figured. Yeah, this is a little different.
That's
And
your
it has
discount. Good luck.
More blackout days than you can go. So
Yeah.
that's
But-
that's a cool pass.
We've gotten to the point now where we're asking families, like, it's like, yeah, how do you look at your children and be like, you can't go to Disneyland, and you're basically forcing people to really kind of put themselves in financial burdens. And I'm glad it's coming because you know why it's coming. It's the same way, like we can point back to the Maximum series. People started voting with their dollars.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then they started not going to the park. And then what did the people up there that get all the high profits every quarter start thinking? Oh my God, Houston, there's a problem here. And so if you do the same thing in any economical situation, it averts the situation and then reality sets in. And that's what's happening. Disney's going through reality right now.
And the other unfortunate problem with Disney doing this and throughout the years just slowly going up and up, especially for us that lived in Southern California, is the other parks have followed suit. Other parks have exceedingly got more expensive, except for Knott's Berry Farm.
And
I mean,
Magic Mountain.
there's still so much. The Magic Mountain was getting up there. The only thing that brought Magic Mountain down is the fact that it's right in the middle of a gang area.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Exactly.
There was a lot of bad things going on in the Magic Mountain area, which brought the prices down. Nobody was going there because there was a lot of things happening.
Yeah.
But the other parks had followed suit for so long, and it's just it's unfortunate for, like, growing up. I'm sure we all been to all the parks multiple times. Now, I mean, I wouldn't be able to afford it if I had a little kid to take my kid to darn near any park nowadays. Like, I'd end up taking him to Scandia, which I don't even think is still open, or Castle Park or something like that. It's ridiculous.
Well,
Patty makes a good point about this too, Chet, where it said in the 2000s schools had grad nights there, and also a family of four got an annual pass for $100.
I brought something to the show today.
For
For
show and
this.
tell.
So when I was younger, you could get passes. I think someone mentioned this in the chat, but you could get passes super cheap. And I just want to show everyone what a pass looked like from the 80s. So you can get all those, but you could get 4 passes for like $100 or just over $100.
Wow.
But I want to take a quick second because it's been a heated conversation. But I want to remind everybody, we want to thank you all 120,000 people watching right now. That's crazy. We want to thank you guys for joining us, and remind you to subscribe, like, thumbs up, and share this if you know anybody that wants this or you want to get involved. This is also a good time if you're a member, and it starts at 99 cents on our YouTube channel. You get access to the stage in our Discord, which gives you the ability to call into the podcast and ask us a question in future podcasts. That is coming. However, we know a lot of you come here and you're excited, and there's a lot of news that happens. And so with that, Mr. Alexander Storm, what's happening with news?
From our world to your world, this is SKN News, and we are starting off with, and this was the most interesting subject of the entire week. I don't want people to get into the complex. Talking about movies' ups and downs and everything, right? Well, Keanu Reeves has a new highest grossing film. That's right. Sonic 3 has collected in $233 million from the domestic markets and $238 million from the international markets for a worldwide total of $471 million. But the film has just crossed a major milestone for one of its stars. The third movie in the Sonic franchise has now passed both The Matrix and John Wick Chapter 4 to become the third highest grossing movie for Keanu Reeves' career. That's right. He's beat The Matrix and John Wick with Sonic, which is really cool. You know, you kind of look at these aspects and you think that, you know, stars have great points of having second careers.
Yeah.
And usually, like, you know, he's an action guy. You know, he was like, you know, Keanu Reeves has been in the game for a long time. But you never thought you would hear anything bigger than The Matrix. Then he does John Wick, and then that's bigger. But Sonic, Sonic is actually bigger than that, so that's really good for his career. What do you guys think about that?
That's pretty wild.
Yeah, that was great in it.
Yeah, I still need to see it, but that, like,
I saw it.
I mean, look, he's a phenomenal actor, and so when you watch, if you ever see any behind the scenes of him doing voice acting, he's just acting. They're just recording his voice and not his body. And I'm sure that it shows through on this movie. I haven't seen it, but everyone I know that has seen it has said it's fantastic. Sonic is one of my favorite franchises. I think it's right up there with Mario. But yeah, I could see this.
Great film. And again, Keanu Reeves is doing his thing. And, you know, look, at one point or another, we're going to get a John Wick 5, and we know we're getting Sonic 4 now. So, like, you know, again, you know, you come in and you just throw your voice track down, no putting your body through the line.
Yeah.
It's a good gig if you can get it.
And that, like, let's not mention too, like, the Jim Carrey is killing it as that character.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, come on. Like, he is destroying that. Like, it is, at first I wasn't sure because of, you know, Dr. Robotnik in the video games, but then I'm just like, no, he's like literally brought that to life. It's fantastic.
Absolutely.
And you get double carry in this one.
Oh, nice. Okay. Oh, yeah. Okay.
From there, we move on to this is interesting. And this one, actually, they need to pay attention to this over at the people at the DC offices. Popular Flash wants to return for James Gunn's DC Universe. During his Men's Health interview, Grant Gustin revealed that the doors to the DCU might still be open for him. He shared that he's interested in returning to the role if James Cameron wanted him as DCU's Flash. Gustin shared with a fan of Gunn's work, and including Guardians of the Galaxy film, also to mention the Flash lasted 9 seasons from 2014 to 2023. And look, if you remember the show in the beginning days, or you remember at the ending, he was the best thing on that show, and he looked like the Flash. But it's not my opinion it needs to hear. Would you guys like to see them actually take a popular Flash actor and bring him back? Or would you like to see him cast somebody new? What do you guys think about it?
No.
I personally think he was the best version of Flash that we've seen. I mean, it either way, like, here's the thing about it though. There's a difference between television and movies.
Yeah.
That doesn't guarantee it's going to transfer over. You know,
DC
presence
doesn't know
may
that.
be good on the small screen. Who knows how it transfers to a large? So I would love to see it, but I'm not 100% confident how well it would transfer.
He would be better than Ezra Miller.
Yeah.
I would be better than Ezra Miller.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. But like everyone likes. Look, he had the like he's. I think he has the chops to do it in theater. And let's be honest, though, this is James Gunn directing, so it's basically just like a Hallmark movie, anyways.
Yeah.
So you don't have to.
Don't put down Hallmark movies.
Yeah, sorry, my bad. You don't have to worry about whether or not you're a good actor in a James Gunn movie, because if you're not his family member or his brother, it doesn't really matter. So I mean, we've seen like already this dude is a better actor than the guy they cast as Superman. He's gonna redo Batman, so we get to have fucking 3. So I think like this is, this would be a good move, because there were some episodes of The Flash that were movie quality episodes in terms of like plot line and acting and the way that they interacted and how they blended the stories in as they were building up things in the DCU with Arrow and and Supergirl and all that other stuff. The guy could pull it off, and he's a believable Flash, to be completely honest.
Yeah, he gets that. That's the one thing I liked about him, is he gets that Flash emotion. Like Flash is always in that turmoil. He's had that inner turmoil, and you always felt that with him. He emotes very well over the screen.
And this would be a prime time for it too, because remember, there's also talks now about what they're doing with all of the like Daredevil and Punisher over in Marvel and bringing them to the big screen. And I think that this is somebody that's in comparison with like Daredevil and Barenthal going to the big screen. I think that I just think that if given the opportunity and it written properly and shot correctly, I think that you could really, it's easy to imagine this person playing Flash in the film, especially because, let's be real, the costume in the TV show is way better than the costume in the movie.
Yeah. Well, that's where the problem lies, is the written properly part.
That's true.
No, this is a terrible idea. He should not be anywhere near the movies, because he comes with all of the 9 seasons of TV baggage, whether it's supposed to be a different character or not, different multiverse, that he's coming from, but it's still coming with all that stuff in it. We've already seen his Superman, Green Arrow, Mr. Terrific, all those characters. So I don't think he should. He was great at it, and he can come back in some sort of multiversal role, but they should just get a new actor. Ezra Miller was the wrong choice. They need to get a new one.
They had the opportunity, because there was a point when Mr. Miller was going to the extreme, as I'll use the term, and they were like, a big point of saying, should we just grab the Flash from TV and jump into the screen? I think that would have done wonders for that franchise and really would have helped it. I think Darth Moocher says he agrees with them bringing in a brand new actor, and here's the reason why I'll say that I can and I can't. One is, you get the piped in audience that was already watching him on the CW or whatever channel he was on, and so you get those people that transition into the theater. So Flash doesn't become like a brand new actor, because let's be honest, there's like, if you're not Superman or Batman, it's harder to sell the rest of the DCU. Those are the 2 most popular invisible characters. So after that, maybe Wonder Woman's next, but like, the Aquamans and all these other characters suffer behind it. So maybe if you had somebody that actually had the built-in audience, there'd be a little bit more excitement, because with Superman, there's people excited to see some of the visuals and situations, but how big were the people if Cavill was coming back? A lot of people wanted to see Cavill come back. He had a piped in audience already. Now you're asking, there's a Batman. If they, make a mistake on the casting the Batman, so I think if you have the opportunity, and maybe you don't have to do the 11 or 12 seasons, it's just he's coming in to be the Flash. You kind of retell his origin, because they do that almost every film that they're doing.
Yeah.
and because I think he's a really good actor, and he looks the role. It's hard for you to get somebody that looks like they're the Flash and
Yeah.
really mean it. I thought Miller just, especially I guess Zack Snyder's costume, he didn't really quite seem like the Flash.
Well, I think ultimately what's going to happen is that they should get Sam Jones back. Do you remember Sam Jones?
No.
He was in the movie Flash Gordon. You don't remember that from the 80s?
No, I doubt if they could even get him.
On
I've
Flash.
seen him as.
Oh, you'd be amazed.
Yeah.
Sam Jones. I mean, come on. The guy was in, what was it, Ted 2 or Ted?
Yeah. He was in Ted 2. I appreciate that Richard got it. Let's move on to the next one. I'm upset now.
And moving on to the next one. Now, here's the thing. Let me just explain this.
This is our famous section.
This is going to be a situation that's going to happen. We know our popcorn buckets, but let me give a warning before we get into the popcorn bucket thing. It's like these Fantastic Four popcorn buckets are fan made. They are not official products. I don't want you guys to write in and be like, hey, those guys over there, that did not happen. That's not real. These are not real products. These are something on Boss Logic.
Yeah, these look way too good to be the real
but
product.
yeah, shows how more inventive fans are than the actual marketing people that come up with the actual products.
Well, here's the thing. Fantastic possibilities for popcorn buckets. That's right. Somebody online said, I'm not going to wait for the people over at AMC, Regal, or Cinemark to come up with this. I'm going to come up with my own. And thank you, Boss Logic, wherever you are, for coming up with this. But he's come out with a couple of them. One, he has, it just looks like this is a little bit of iteration of the Sue Storm kind of transparent or something else. And it's the standard popcorn, but it's a little imagery to it.
That looks great.
Remember that popcorn bucket is going to come back and do a double take for you. Here, breaking case of fire glass. I didn't get this one. Is this like for the Baxter building or something? Or,
no, it's for Johnny Storm.
Yeah,
okay. Okay.
Fire extinguisher.
Got it. Okay. Well, now it makes sense to me. He said much better than Dogman Bowl. He's absolutely correct. The thing hand holding the fedora. It's got me right there because I'm like, I almost hoping that's real.
Yeah, that
one. Awesome. I would buy that one out of all of them so far.
Yeah. Go ahead, Chet.
No, I was gonna say like this is why it's so sad sometimes because this dude made the first bucket for Sue Storm look good and it's just a bucket.
Yep.
But you're like, oh, is that? Wait, I can see the popcorn through it. It's like, yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
And you know what's crazy is Marvel has so much. They have the ability to make this where it goes from like blue to clear to actually make it like that. But they're not going to do that.
So let me tell you this much. Speaking of popcorn buckets, the one that we had the biggest debate about, the Captain America helmet, it held about this much popcorn. The thing's about this big. And it's $35.
Is it really that small?
Yeah, it's tiny. It holds like a small popcorn, maybe a medium.
Wow.
It is small.
But $35, no popcorn, technically.
Yeah.
That's
so.
I think maybe the $35 one is the one that lights up, and the other one's like 29 or something like that. But still, it doesn't even hold a large popcorn.
Wow. Well, we're not done with the fan-made popcorn buckets. These won't be showing up at your local theaters. Somebody came up with this, but now this was the best popcorn bucket that I have ever seen. And if they make this, and look, they should just go to this guy, catch him on X, Boss Logic over on an X, talk to him, because they should definitely do that Mr. Fantastic one. Because not only does it have your popcorn, but you know how you're in the theater and you don't want to put it right next to the person that you don't know in the holder. Well, you can actually go ahead and actually just have it right in the drink, holding his head. It's perfect, man, and it's like a medium popcorn.
I need that bucket.
Yeah,
I need both of these buckets.
Well, yeah, and the Galactus head is awesome.
Oh, the Galactus one is like
now that would hold a large. That holds probably like an extra large popcorn.
I could tell you right now, though, the Mr. Fantastic bucket would sell out.
Yeah,
because I would be buying all of the ones available.
Yeah, Yeah, most
And I
definitely.
can see myself using that, like when you sit down in front of the TV watching a movie. It's like, hey, just put that in your lap. You got your popcorn, your drinks right there.
So good.
Yeah, and we're not done because Mr. Logic had to go up one more, and I got to give him credit. The last one's really eventful because now, from what I understand, even though they're fan made, I've heard Disney was considering this because this made the most sense to them. Here's the last two. Each one of them are for $49.99, especially the last image right there. They have supplies all over the place, so don't worry about it because Disney said this makes the most sense. And actually, AMC, Cinemark, Alamo Drafthouse, they all agreed that last one somehow made sense. You know, you pay $49 and get nothing.
Here you go, sir. Thank you.
That's
Which you've got to give him credit on that. But you know, again, if you haven't seen him, make sure you head over to X, Boss Logic on X. Very talented designer. I give him credit for that. And with that, gentlemen, you know what this is? That's the end of SKN News.
man, that was a that's a pretty good set of popcorn buckets. I feel like that is our thing right now. Like,
Yeah.
We need a dedicated segment that's
if
just
anybody has
popcorn.
popcorn buckets that they want to send into us, we can give you our PO box later. But yeah, so there's something we don't really talk a lot about on this show, and I think it's worth talking about because I think that it deserves its own thing. And we were talking a little bit about this. We've talked about it off camera, on camera. Comic books. And comic books seem to be in a situation where they are kind of running into some problems. Mr. Storm.
Yeah, we're gonna kick this off tonight. We thought this would be a different kind of scenario that we're gonna do something a little different. So we pinned a letter, Dear Comic Books, and we'd like to read it off to you guys. Dear Comic Books, from the moment ink first touched the page, you have been a gateway to adventure, imagination, and heroism. You were born in the Golden Age, where capes soared across the sky and the world met champions who stood for truth, justice, and the limited potential of storytelling. You gave us Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, icons who become more than just characters, they became myths. Then came the Silver Age, and you evolved, brighter and bolder, reflecting on the world racing towards the future. Spider Man swung between skyscrapers, the X Men fought for a dream, and cosmic gods clashed in the vastness of space. The pages were filled with hope, with wonder, with belief that heroes' flaws were very resilient, could save the day. As the years passed, you matured. The Bronze Age brought grittier stories where the world wasn't so black and white. The shadows deepened. The villains grew more complex. The heroes struggled with their own humanity. You reflected the world's fears, its fights, its flaws, and yet still you endured. The modern age reshaped you again. Art involved, storytelling become more daring, and new voices found their way into your pages. Digital ink replaced paper. New publishers rose and fell, and the industry fought to keep its place in the ever-changing world. And now, as the pillars once held you up, newsstands, comic shops, distributors like Diamond crumble, and the question lingers, what comes next? Are we watching the final pages of your story, or is it just another rebirth, another reinvention? You can survive you survived censorship, bankruptcy, industry clashes, and the rise of new media. Will you survive this? For all the joy, inspiration, and escape you have given us, for the heroes and villains, the battles and betrayals, the triumphs and tragedies, know this: no matter what happens next, your story will never fade. You will live on in the hands of those who cherish you, in the minds of those who dreamed beyond the panels, in the hearts of those who believe that heroes, no matter how hard they fight, always find a way. With love and for those who believe. Thank you, comic books.
Amen. Amen. You know, and that, my friends, was Dear Comic Books.
Very well said.
We appreciate that. Very well said, sir.
Thank you.
Very, very well said. Well, it's that time that you've all been regretting, and and you just hate, but it's there. We're here. I'm gonna give you a hug, Moocher. I'll give you a hug ASAP. But we're at the ninth minute of the 33-hour, and 110,000 people need to get going and doing their things. So we want to remind everybody there is a Bandito Radio has definitely kicked off. So if you can, get over there and check it out. It is live on iHeartRadio, on Spotify, on Apple Music, on YouTube, on anywhere that you could think of that you want to listen to. Bandito Radio is over there. You could catch your boys, Chet Maddox and Alexander Storm, the two sexiest hosts in toy podcast world, hosting Action Figure Frequencies live on 112 FM radio. But with that being said, Mr. Richard, kscollectibles.com, do you have any final thoughts?
The only thing I can say is I think anybody that's going to go see Captain America, do it with open mind and just enjoy movies. Like, there's way too much cynicism in this world. Just movies are meant to have fun. I mean, they're one of my favorite things in this world, and it's supposed to be mindless entertainment. Just have fun with it. And if you don't like it, don't ruin other people's joy.
Well said, sir. Dr. PhD extraordinaire Brentley, please.
Esquire.
Esquire the third, please prescribe us something before you leave.
Well, I'm actually looking forward to Captain America now. Last weekend, I saw Becoming Led Zeppelin, which is awesome. Okay. If you can get to an IMAX, go check it out. It was fantastic. But this week, I'm looking forward to Captain America.
And Mr. Storm, why don't you rain down in thunder with people and your last thoughts?
Absolutely. If you're looking for Maximum Spider-Man and you find out that he's all sold out, go over to kscollectibles.com. Make sure that you're going over to Dr. Brentley's Collectibles over at eBay. Make sure you're checking out Rad Insight over on Whatnot, and also Chet Maddox over at Whatnot, because guess what? They bought them. So if you didn't, that's all right. You can pay
you
more
got the cash.
You got the
But just be good, be kind to one another. And again, like Richard so eloquently said, don't step on people's joy, man.
That is right. And so from all of us here at Pixel Plastic Inc., we appreciate you. We thank you for stopping by. We know there's 110,000 people waiting to go on to whatever the hell is next on a Friday night. We want to thank everybody again. Check out some replays on the channel. If you don't know yet, go over to Sarlacc Digest, the best damn podcast on Star Wars, hands down. No ifs, ands, or Sarlacc butts about it. You can also check out other cool things. You just got to go check them out. We want to thank you all. Make sure you subscribe to us. Check out Bandito Radio. Check out Odd Frog Entertainment. Those guys are going to be changing the toy industry with the action vehicles. You have no idea what the hell you're missing. Trust me, it's there. Our Discord link is live in the YouTube channel. Again, starting soon, probably next month, you will be able to join us on the live stage on our Discord. If you are a monthly subscriber, $4.99 minimum. There's more steps there. You could get deeper if you want, but we don't want you to do that. Yeah, I think that's it. So from all of us here, Dr. Brentley, Richard, Alexander Storm, and our yacht loving, yacht sailing, yacht manufacturing, money making machine, Rad Insight, we want to thank you. We love you. You don't have to stay here, but we're going to take off. It's been a pleasure for you and maybe not so much for us, but we'll see you next week anyways, because you can't help yourself. See you later.
Toys versus gamers.
I'm here with the man, the owner.
Tony at Toy vs. Game.
Versus games. Oh.